Anybody who talks about California hedonism has not spent a Christmas in Sacramento.
Lost for you, I'm so lost for you. Oh, when you come crash.
Lady Bird is directed by Greta Gerwig and is starring Saoirse Ronan, Laurie Metcalf, and Tracy Letts. Before I go any further, I just want to say there will not be any plot spoilers in this review. This is a coming-of-age story centered around the character of Christine, or Lady Bird as she is like to be called throughout the film, and it is set in the academic year of 2002 to 2003. It is the senior year of the character of Lady Bird in her high school career, and she is dealing with a lot of teenage angsty problems, as well as a lot of growing pains, and of course having a very complicated relationship with her mother, portrayed by Laurie Metcalf. This is the solo directorial debut for Greta Gerwig. She co-directed a film early on in her career. Right off the bat, I definitely have to commend her for doing a fantastic job directing this movie. When it comes to first-time directors, this is one of the better films that you will definitely see. It doesn't feel like she is a first-time director. This feels like someone who has been doing this for many, many years, and the film feels very polished when it comes to that. I think this material is very personal to Greta Gerwig. As someone who was a teenager growing up in Sacramento, she certainly has a lot of personal ties and probably puts a lot of personal things in this film for her, and it definitely shows on screen. Nothing in this film really feels fake or feels fantastical in any way. A lot of these coming-of-age films have a certain perfection in them. They almost feel like this fantasy world that we wish we had growing up. This film shows a lot of the imperfections and a lot of the issues that a lot of young teenagers go through, especially in the early 2000s, which was a very unique time to grow up as a teenager. It is a lot different than now, although it wasn't that long ago. Personally, myself, I also went to a Catholic high school like Lady Bird did. I was actually a freshman in high school during the same academic year that the character of Lady Bird goes through in this film, so I definitely understood a lot of what was happening in that specific world. What lends itself to this film's authenticity is definitely the quality of the acting, which is extremely high. Saoirse Ronan has been a rising star now for years, and she delivers yet again another career best performance as Lady Bird. As I said, this teenager going through a lot of teenage growing pains and a lot of angsty things, and just kind of living her life and trying to figure out what she wants to do, where she wants to be, her relationship with her mother, which also leads me to Laurie Metcalf, who portrays her mom, and the scenes between these two are astoundingly great. Some of the best moments of this film are the back and forth between the mother and the daughter, which is a central focus of this film. It feels very real. As someone who has grown up and has had confrontations with their parents, a lot of the arguments that are had in this movie are definitely translated directly from real life. I will not be surprised if both Saoirse Ronan and Laurie Metcalf are given some type of award consideration this year during the award season. Definitely an Oscar nomination for Laurie Metcalf. She is fantastic. When it comes to the negative aspects of the film, I don't really have many. This is one of my favorite films of the year, but I will say something that is both a positive and a negative. Something that I battled myself with while watching the film is that the film is structured in a very loose way. We are witnessing Lady Bird's life in a series of moments, so there's not a lot of connective tissue through a lot of the scenes in the film, and that led me to question a lot of the structure in the sense like, where are we going, what's happening, how is this film, cohesive? And I began to realize that life is not really depicted in that way, in the sense that when I look back at my life and back at my teenage years, I kind of view them as moments, and in the way we are watching Lady Bird view her life in almost a flashback way, in a series of moments, specifically through the last year of her high school life and transitioning into the college or adult life. We are given enough to follow her along the way, and the film feels a little disjointed because of that, but I don't feel that it is too much. I feel that Greta Gerwig always has control of this movie. She always is able to wrangle us back into it and get us involved in Lady Bird's life, and that is the strength of this film, is that I found myself getting very immersed within this character's story to see where it was going. I almost didn't want it to end, because ultimately this film doesn't have quite a concrete ending, in the sense that life just continues. Our lives go on. We move from teenage to adulthood, we move from high school to college, and so on and so forth. And this film feels like a slice of life. I'm going to give this film a rather high score of 4.3 out of 5 stars. It is a film I highly recommend for people who are fans of indie films, who are a fan of coming-of-age film, who were perhaps teenagers way back when, because I think you're going to get a lot of flashbacks because of this. I can't wait to see what Greta Gerwig does next in her directing career. That has been my review for Lady Bird. If you like this video, please check out the other videos on my channel.